Good afternoon, Rotarians. Good afternoon, Tim. Thank you, Bob. Still paying attention. Good to see you again. Thanks to President-elect Josh Braby for filling in for me last week while I played nurse and lawyer at home for my wife, who's doing very well. Surprisingly, she was very happy to see me come back to Rotary today, so I don't know why that's the case. But thanks to our greeter today, Erlen Kakanad. Thank you for filling in, Erlen. Appreciate it. And then we will have Randy Worth give our moment of inspiration and remind us about upcoming Wheels Fellowship here in a second, and he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test, and then we will greet our fellow Rotarians before we get started with our program. So, Randy? Over there.
When I do this, I always tell people, well, I hope it's inspirational. Who knows, right? Start off with a reminder about the Wheels Fellowship. A week from this Saturday on the 25th, 10 o'clock at American Dream Machines. There's plenty of parking on the west side of the building, and that's where the entrance is. Bring your own coffee and your own checkbook if you want. And they have about 90 cars in inventory right now, so and they're not all American either, so there should be something there for everybody. But anyway, so the topic today, homeless. And the homeless in Des Moines is not a new topic. From a scattering of blue tents that you might have seen in the late 70s, it's grown into a major issue. And one of the larger encampments that you maybe saw was visible out these west windows. It was a city. it was very large. We have a mixed bag of emotions when regarding the homeless. From, hey, you can't be here, you know, to, yeah, they're just trying to survive. There's also a mixed bag from the homeless person's side, who might think, thank you for leaving me alone. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. To, unfortunately, what I've experienced was, what's mine is mine, and what's yours might become mine if I can get by with it. It happens. But over time, in various resources, we have learned about the problem from both the homeless, about the homeless and the problems of the homeless and from the city, and we've gained knowledge, okay? And from our increase in knowledge comes understanding. I would say that we understand the problem more now than we did a couple years ago. And with knowledge and understanding, then that helps us go forward, and that leads to wisdom. And so that's what we're going to learn about today, is moving forward, and one of the pieces that will help us solve the problem. And I want to end with the inspirational part. I know you're waiting for that. There's a proverb that says, wisdom rests in the hearts of one who has understanding. And now the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Meet your fellow Rotarians.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Hi,
Okay.
Howdy, my name's Joe Stevens. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to various people over the years, and I said, yeah, I mean, everyone's. Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. Good. Good. It wasn't important. Okay. We'll get through the rest of our announcements so we can get to our program today. As is tradition, we like to announce who our guests are and have them stand and recognize. So I'll do it in sort of two different sections. We have a number of guests of our speaker today. So seated at the head table, I'll have them stand when I call their name. We have Brandy Waters. We have Caleb Stevens, Megan Stevens, Shane Houston or Huston? Houston, I apologize. And then Kathy Law is here as well. So all guests of our speaker. So thank you guests for coming. Appreciate it. And then we have other guests that are here as guests of the club. We have past district governors Dennis Drager and his wife Heidi Drager. Good to see you guys. And then we have Megan Franklin, a fellow Rotarian from Cedar Falls and the UNI athletic director, guest at David Elmer. We have Doug Romig, the executive director at Housing Solutions Alliance here in Des Moines, and a guest of Susan, right? Yes. I didn't have it. And then finally, Ray Warner with Ariane out in West Des Moines, and a guest of Christy Edwards. So, thanks for that. All right. We have a couple of birthdays to announce. First of all, today, a very big happy birthday to our current vice president, Katie County. Is Katie here?
She'll be here after lunch.
Oh, she'll be here after lunch. She's skipping. She's going to a more important lunch than ours. And then we have Katie today, and then tomorrow is President-elect Josh Bravy's birthday. So Josh is here, I know. My birthday present to both of you is I'm keeping this podium nice and warm for you guys for 2 more months and 14 days, but no one's counting. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate that. All right. One more thing before we get started with our program. We have our Where in the World is Club 27 for our visitors and guests. The Rotary Club of Des Moines was the 27th Rotary Club founded in the world of over now 45,000 clubs in over 200 countries. So what we'd like to do is send send pictures into Kitty of where our members have been, and of course, as has been a theme this year, we have Doug Saltzgaber again sending in pictures. Apparently Doug doesn't work or anything, he just travels the country and sends in pictures for where in the world. But credit where credit is due, because Doug is showing us that he's more than just sports and hanging out at the local police station or Hy-Vee. His wife dragged him to New York City and to a couple of cultural areas there, some libraries and some museums. So thank you, Doug, for sending those in. I'm going to skip Rotary Law and Disorder today because I apologize. I've had a lot on my plate and I haven't had a chance to get it organized, but I'll finish the year strong after our scholarship program in a couple weeks here. But with all that, we wanted to leave time for our distinguished speaker. So Melissa O'Neill, our own Melissa O'Neill, will be up here now to introduce Joe Stevens. Melissa?
Well, thanks everybody for coming out today. Before I get started with Joe, I do have to acknowledge homelessness is not necessarily a topic that's super sexy, that everybody wants to turn around and come and spend their evenings talking about. when you think about all the other nonprofits that we talk about within our community, whether it's childhood cancer or AIDS or food insecurity, sometimes we jump on board real quick for those because it doesn't challenge the moral makeup of who we are as leaders. And so as we dive into this topic on homelessness, I hope that you open your hearts and your minds to a new perspective, a new thought process, and a new way of perceiving that person who may be unsheltered within our community. And so before I introduce Joe, I have to pause for just a second and acknowledge that Joe and Jackie Stevens were one of the very first people who reached out to me as I started my role now 10 years ago for Central Iowa Shelter and Service. And while they founded JAPA in 2008, it was really their tenacity, their grit, their perseverance that you're going to see come to life here in the next year and a half, 2 years in Des Moines. And I can't be more grateful for Joe and Jackie willing to open their hearts and their minds to me as a new executive director of our largest nonprofit emergency shelter in the state of Iowa. So without further ado, Joe and I love bantering with him. I love challenging each other's perspectives, but even more, I love his grit. So Joe, if I could introduce you, Executive Director of JAPA.
Wow, that's quite the introduction. Thank you. Hello, and thank you for letting me be with you again today. I'd like to start by introducing my guests that are here at my table, and start with Kathy Law, two of our board members, Kathy Law and Shane Houston. Kathy is a partner at Ninemaster and the president of the Iowa Bar Association, and Shane is the CEO of Mail Services. And for those of you that are wondering, that's M-A-I-L. Next, Brandy Waters, who was most recently COO at the Iowa Clinic. She's our new Chief Operating and Finance Officer. And Caleb Stevens, back in the back taking photos right now, my son, also a JAPA co-founder, and his wife Megan are here today with us as well. And they help us with marketing, communications, and IT. And then finally, I think you're here today, Dennis and Heidi Drager. Oh my gosh, I'm looking right past you. So you all know Dennis. He was last year's district governor. And Heidi has started a Rotary Club called HOPE for the homeless. And HOPE stands for Homeless Outreach, Prevention, and Education. So they help us in a number of ways, including providing free veterinary care for pets of homeless individuals. So can't thank you all enough. And Rotary's motto, service above self, resonates deeply with JAPA because at the heart of our work is the same calling. Using what we've been given to serve others and strengthen our community. JAPA helps homeless people survive, find housing, and rebuild their lives. And our mission is to create communities of unconditional love, support, and hope for the homeless as we work together to end homelessness. How we do that is by engaging the community's time, talents, and resources. Churches, businesses, volunteers, donors, and partners like Central Iowa Shelter to help fill gaps in homeless services, housing, and the relational support people need to get off the streets and stay off the streets. We started going out to where people live on September 3rd of 2008, and for over 900 consecutive weeks, we've not missed a week of outreach. We develop relationships, meet immediate needs, and help lift people off our streets. We're using tablets and a custom app to track all of this, and so that we have, it all feeds into a dashboard of real-time data. In 2025, JAPA served 2,425 individuals in the greater Des Moines area that were experiencing homelessness during that 1 year period. That is a 280% increase from 2021, where we just served 870. So homelessness is very much growing. I'm sorry to report that seniors make up the fastest growing segment, and 34% of our homeless are families with children. With the support of donors, volunteers, and partners, many of you in this room, JAPA was able to help lift 117 people off our streets last year, and we've already been able to help another 48 this year. That brings us to a total of 849 homeless men, women, and children that we've been able to help off the street since we started in 2008.
and 84% remain off the streets today due to our extensive aftercare and Circle of Friends programs, so that we stay with people and continue that relationship and help them recover and rebuild their lives. So with nearly 18 years of experience, Joppa knows how to help people get and stay off the streets, but there are still 200 to 300 chronically homeless men and women on our streets today. These are individuals who have one or more disabilities, and they've been on the streets for years. How do we help them successfully transition into homes? Joppa Village will provide permanent housing with wraparound services specifically designed for the chronically homeless. It's modeled after Community First Village in Austin, Texas, and which has been just phenomenally successful at helping nearly 500 chronically homeless individuals into homes to date. The average age of people living in that village is 58 years old, and they've spent an average of 9 years on the streets. Every one of them has a disability, and more than 80% of them succeed at staying in the village until they die. It's a phenomenally successful model. It's being replicated across the United States. Joppa is one of those replicators, and community is really the key difference. Beyond housing and supportive services, there are many ways in which community is intentionally created in the village. And just to give you 2 examples, everyone living in the village wants to be there. They've applied, they want to be there, and they pay rent. And that may surprise some of you, but there's dignity in paying rent. And it gives you the ability to feel like you're in control of your future, and it's not just gonna go away at some point. So the master site plan here, you can see, has a community building, Neighbor Care Community Center, and lots of other eventual facilities that we'll build over time, such as an amphitheater, a chapel, a living room, an entrepreneurial center, and an art house, and then various other things. In the center of the community is a community garden, and that's a big kind of the heart of the village. It grows enough food for the village and even the neighborhood. We're in the Chesterfield neighborhood, and one of the things that we want to do is lift that neighborhood up, and so we're going to be blessing the neighborhood with the things that we have available. I mentioned the memorial, the dying in the village, and they have a very dignified process of helping people be remembered and then pass on. They have a memorial garden with columbariums where people live. So we've got one entrance into the village, one road around. All the homes face inward to create pocket neighborhoods and lots of community. And I'd like to share that the city and county conducted a study a while back showing that it costs the community about $60,000 per homeless person per year, chronically homeless person per year. And that's when adjusted for inflation. So the Joppa Village will save $3 million a year for our community with just the first 50 residents. Here's a rendering from the village, kind of inside the first neighborhood we'll be creating here. We'll be breaking ground yet this year. This is an example of some of the homes. These are, we're harkening back to the 1920s and 30s, when homes were significantly smaller on average, and when everybody had a front porch for community. And so there's gabled roofs, lots of really interesting. Most of these are just kind of mood board photos, but this home here we built in Cheatham Park. I want to get Chesterfield and Cheatham Park. So in Cheatham Park, near Primary Healthcare, this home sits at 1305 Laurel. And it's a prototype home. We call it the 384 because it's 384 square feet. It's a cottage home. Let me show you what that home looks like. But that home actually is here. So every one of these homes that I'm showing you floor plans of have all the same 4 things. They've got a living area, a kitchenette, they've got a dedicated bathroom, full bath, and a dedicated bedroom. So it's just a matter of how, and people choose their housing based on where they want to live, what color it is, how big it is, how much rent they want to pay, and all of those things. So we've got rent, sort of subsidized rent costs ranging from $350 a month up to $650 a month. And this particular unit here at 192 square feet also has all those same amenities. Is designed for people on Social Security, just basic Social Security SSI. So that's gone up to $994 this year. And so that's right at about 35% of their income. This is kind of unheard of because when we help homeless people get off the streets, typically they are paying 60 to 80% of their income on housing unless they happen to be on a government program. So I want to tell you a little bit about how we're privately funded and why your support matters. So Joppa does not operate on state or federal funding. 82% of our support comes from individuals and families, either directly or through their churches. In addition, we have a lot of pro bono, a lot of talented professionals and organizations helping us. I mentioned Nyemaster, and they've done our Rod Kubat and Kathy and some other people there have been doing our legal work for trying to figure it out, but well over 12 years. And we have architects like BSB, RDG, and Simonson Associates. And we have, for instance, mail services here, Shane's company. It prints our newsletters, does all the mailing, processing, and everything at no cost to Joppa. So we have another about $500,000 a year of services that we would otherwise have to pay for. Joppa has been awarded the GuideStar Platinum Transparency Seal for 7 consecutive years. That's stands for governance, finance, and transparency. And less than 1% of U.S. nonprofits are awarded this particular seal. Beyond charitable giving, we've created a scalable revenue engine. How many of you have heard of Thrift Mart before you got the card? Okay. Has anybody been there? This is gonna be dangerous, but just a quick comment. Is it like all other thrift stores? Any different? I should have done that. All right, but anyway, we will tell you that it's not your ordinary thrift store. We designed it to be very different. I personally don't like thrift stores, but my wife does. But I like the model, the business model. You start with 100% margin, and that's kind of hard to screw up. So, but no, we've been voted the best thrift store last year. We're hoping to win that again this year, and we plan to open additional stores. Our projections show that when we get to five stores, we should be able to cover all of our core operating costs. In addition to that, we've launched the Joppa Legacy Planned Giving Program. We all know as nonprofits that giving is going to change over the next couple decades, and so if you don't have a revenue engine and an endowment, you may not be sustainable. And so we're working on both of those strategically. So I have a lot of time. Yeah, great. Well, I'm going to show you this video then. And I'm going to open it up to questions and answers. That's really what I enjoy doing, is talking about the things you're interested in. But I want to show you this video, Harry Smith at the Today Show. Yes. Harry Smith. Thank you.
In this otherwise unremarkable area of Austin, Texas, there is a community that very well might be an answer, even the answer, to a problem plaguing cities coast to coast.
We have a phrase that housing alone will never solve homelessness, but community will.
Community.
It's about community. It's about people being lonely, man.
We're in the middle of the Mobile Loaves and Fishes Community First Village with founder and CEO Alan Mullane. What started with a few used trailers has now grown to scores of tiny houses. There will be more than 500 units by the end of the year.
How do I qualify to get in here? Unaccompanied male or female, no children,
Yeah.
with a disability, having lived on the streets of this Travis County for at least a year, and moving from phase 1.
There's a waiting list of 160. As for rules, restrictions for drug or alcohol dependency do not exist. Zero.
We live in a world where we have been experimenting with prohibiting those things for over 100 years here in the United States. And how successful are we?
The village is faith-based. Its ethos found in both the Old and New Testaments. Love your neighbor. Sprinkled among the formerly homeless are people like Neil and Lynn Nolan, who chose to leave their affluent Austin neighborhood and instead live here, as the Bible says, among the least of these.
You two have been out there almost a year now. What's the most important thing you've learned?
When you muscle that energy to continue to stay in there and walk the journey that they're on with them, by them as their neighbor, it is incredibly fulfilling.
Expectation-wise, has it been as important as you hoped it would be?
More so. More so. It's easy to say I'm going to meet people on their level, but it's another thing to actually live it and do it on a daily basis.
It's evangelism minus the sermons. It's faith with works.
What we want people to do is preach the gospel often, and only when necessary use words.
No proselytizing allowed.
That's why most of our neighbors love Christ, but can't stand Christians.
In the village, there's an art studio
This was Jason did this. Yeah.
and work opportunities. A hydroponic garden supplies free fresh produce. But utopia, this is not.
The two essential human needs are the need to be fully and wholly loved and fully and wholly known. When you bring all that to the table, it creates an environment of welcome. But Harry, it has a side salad of tension. It's life. It's real life with all the beauty and the marinade of the dysfunction all put into that one little tasty gumbo.
This fearless approach to folks living on the street is working. Travis County has pledged tens of millions of dollars in support, and ground has been broken for construction of 1,400 new units.
Government of the people and for the people is typically risk averse and lacks innovation. And so we've come in and we've brought a tremendous amount of risk to prove something innovative.
JR figures he may have been on the street for 20 years, but no more.
And we're no fun, and we're a place that cares about people like this.
If this place didn't exist, would you still be on the street?
If this place didn't exist, I'd be dead. That's just the truth.
We sat with JR on his porch, listening to him play the blues, mournful notes that belied a hymn of gratitude.
And here's the thing, people come and visit there 3 or 4 times a year from around the country to see how it's done. And Alan, by the way, formerly successful commercial real estate guy, he and his wife live there too. Right in the middle of it.
We should take that to scale.
Well, it's scalable.
Yeah.
It's scalable.
What they call walking the walk.
It's one thing to talk. This is serious walking.
Wow. Yeah, of all the stories you've done, you label this one.
It's one of the best ever.
So that was a Community First Village. There we go. Community First Village in Austin, the model that we're replicating. And you saw the two people standing by the food truck there chatting. And what I forgot to mention earlier is that another component of community is that about 1 in 20 people have not experienced homelessness that are living in the village. So it's staff and volunteers who are called to live amongst the formerly homeless in community. And so we will have, and I probably am going to get going back to this slide anyway. We will have a couple missionals living in the village before we even move in the first resident. They call them missionals. That's just the term that they use down there because again, it's generally people, they're not being paid and they're paying their own rent to be there. And so that's generally people, who feel called and have, called from their faith to do this. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. I forgot to tell you also that you have on your, you all have a gift card to Thrift Mart. Some of you, like me, might not be interested in going to a thrift store, but you might want to come check out our model. But I'm sure you have kids or grandkids that would be delighted to have that. We will guarantee you that if someone comes in, they're going to tell their friends and come back. So we're quite willing to pay you all to stop by and check it out sometime. And then the last thing I want to say before I open up to questions is you all have on your table our 2024 case for support. That's a year old. Our new one's just getting printed. But I wanted you to have that. And in there, on the people always ask what they can do to help. And so on that 4th page, I think, you'll see ways that you can help. And again, one of those ways is to give. And you'll see some giving levels. And I just wanted to point out 3 of those. So our average out-of-pocket cost to help a homeless family off the streets, this is the direct incremental cost, is $4,800. So a gift of $4,800 will help a family off the streets. $2,400 will help a couple off the streets. And an annual gift of $1,200 or $100 a month will help a single homeless individual off the streets every year. So those are some things that maybe people could consider. And we will be launching a capital campaign to build the Joppa Village this summer. We've already received some money from Polk County and some from some generous organizations and people. So we have enough money to build, we believe, the first 5 homes. We're pulling all that together. We're getting through the permitting process and all of those good things. But we've got the city, we've got everybody on the same page, finally, after 12 years of working on this project, and so we have unanimous support from the city as well as from, we've had that with the county for quite some time. So, and then finally, yeah, November 7th, we're gonna have our gala at the Ron Pearson Center. It's a fundraiser. Last year we had 900 people at the Iowa Event Center and raised a significant amount of money. This year we're gonna go blow through 1,000. And so if anybody would like to join us, there's no cost to join or to come, and there's no obligation, but everybody knows it's a fundraiser, and we pass out an envelope at the end of the program, and there's an opportunity to give. So if that would appeal to any of you, you are highly qualified to come. And if you would like to be a table host, that's another way you'll see in the case for support that you can help, is to bring some friends. Tables at 10, bring. And this year, not only will we be talking more about the village, and we serve a wonderful meal, and you'll hear from some of the people that have experienced our services, but we have special speaker Ron Hall coming to visit. He's never spoken in Iowa. How many people remember the book, Same Kind of Different as Me? It was made into a movie, Hollywood movie. It's very much worth reading. It's a very moving book. And it was on the New York Times bestseller in about 20 years ago. He's written 2 books since then, and he'll be here to talk about how him meeting a man named Denver completely changed his life. And so that would be another reason to come if you're available on November 7th. With that, I will open it up to questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, again, tell us where the project will be again, and how many units we start with.
Great, thank you. So the project is at 2501 Maury. It's the old Chesterfield School site. So this is on the southeast side of Des Moines, kind of where near Kemin Industries has been investing a lot in their facilities. And the first neighborhood will be this neighborhood right here, phase 1. It's actually, this is a earlier draft, it's got 25 homes in it. And you can see this home here and this home here are actually for volunteers or staff to live in. So in each neighborhood, there's also a laundry facility and lots of open space and then a gazebo. And so I think I answered those questions. Yes, sir.
The Austin program was faith-based.
It is.
Is this one like that?
It is. Yeah, we are a faith-based organization. We're a Christian organization, but we have no requirements for services, and we don't have any requirements to volunteer. Last year we had over 2,000 volunteers for the 3rd year in a row, contribute over 40,000 hours. So that's another thing I should plant a seed with. Many of the people working on our resource center are retired. We've got retired executives, just a lot of retired folks, as well as people working in outreach. We've got sorting, we've got the thrift store. We're 95% volunteers. So yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
What will the application process look like for prospective residents?
Yeah, we're replicating Community First, and so that's been sort of well tweaked over the time. The requirements to be in the village: you need to be chronically homeless. You need to have lived in this area for more than 12 months. So you've been homeless through a winter. You're not going to move here from Chicago to try to get a cool home or something. And then you have to be a single male or female adult. And so there will be children in the village, but there'll be children of staff members or volunteers. Chronically homeless families or families with children generally need more than 1 bedroom, and we typically put those in houses around the city. And we never have a problem helping a family, because all of you would reach in your pockets right now if I told you, the story of Macy and Kennedy, who were 3 and 1 living in diapers in a camp when we met them, or any other person we would bring to you would say, yeah, let's get them off the streets. So we're generally able to get people off the streets in a fairly short period of time, the families. So yes, sir, you had a question.
Joe, that was a very savvy, thoughtful presentation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
This is a proven concept. I'm just curious, looking at the program. Most of your donors are other not-for-profits, right?
He's referring to the green part at the bottom of page 2, and what that is about actually is our referrals. Those are the organizations like Central Iowa Shelter. I should have said that. I was a little worried about running out of time. But we can't do what we do without all those wonderful organizations you see printed in the green there. And that year we made 15,000 referrals to those organizations. And so, and one more thing, and I'll come back to you, about 68% or right at 68% of the people that we helped get into housing, those 117 people last year, were done in collaboration with someone like Central Iowa Shelter or the Veterans Administration and or primary health care, YMCA supportive housing, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, Nymaster's done a great job for you. Thank you, Kathy, for that. I'm curious about corporate Des Moines, i.e., let's pick an example of Vietnam and power to the side of telecom providers, things like that. Are some of them leaning in to help you?
Not at this time, but we would be very open to that. If you have any ideas, I'm all ears.
I just gave you two.
Maybe a little more than the idea, if you know who to contact and help in any way.
Well, I mean, that's a board opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Can we visit maybe after this for a minute or two? I got time. At least I want to get you my business card.
That's how I get in trouble.
How about other questions? Yes.
Thanks for being here. The video showed what looked like mobile homes supplementing the stick-built homes. Is there a plan to do that in Des Moines?
No, they are actually phasing out all the mobile homes. They started with mobile homes while they were building other homes, and now they're phasing those out as they reach the end of their life. Yeah, so we won't have any mobile. We're also not by code allowed to have any pre-manufactured homes, which they do have there, which is the least expensive, nicest, highest quality home you can buy, is a pre-manufactured home. You know, it comes on wheels, but then you take the wheels off and it sits on slabs. It doesn't look as appealing from the outside, but that's not something we can do here in Des Moines. So we're building stick-built and panelized homes. So, yes? Yeah.
I believe you said in the video that there's a disability requirement in
Yes.
Austin. Are you carrying that over?
Yes, and so the definition, and people, one of the requirements was chronically homeless, and the definition of chronically homeless, it's a HUD standard definition, and it means that you have one or more disabilities, so physical, mental, and/or addiction. Many people are have more than one that they're suffering from, and then the other definition is that they've been on the streets for a really long time, generally more than 12 months contiguous, or 4 or more times within 3 years. That amounts to at least 12 months. Leave it to our government. But basically, these are the people that are the hardest to reach. They've been on the streets. These are the people that you see regularly, that we sometimes as a community lose hope. In fact, we treat them, really as modern day lepers. We don't want to, touch them, feel them, smell them. Touch them, smell them, or see them. And so we kind of, shift them off to the outskirts of town. And so these are the hardest to serve, typically considered the hardest to serve, and that's what this village is 100% dedicated for. So with 200 to 300 homeless people right now, chronically homeless people in our community, it'll take us a while to build all these, depending on how the fundraising goes. But this can make we're not calling this a solution to chronic homelessness, because the problem will continue to grow. But it is a major dent in our issue here in Des Moines. Like I said. So other questions? Maybe one.
Yes. We have a couple minutes.
Kathy.
I was just going to mention the gala. If you want to host a table, there's no cost to do that either. You can just sign up for a table and invite your friends. So that's a good thing to do. Can you talk a minute about the art center? I like that some of the people are incredible artists that live in Austin, and how that's been really good for them, and able to make a living, and just having that art to express their feelings and everything.
Yeah. They sell more than $100,000 of art each year made by homeless folks down there, and they get to keep that money. And there's also and people have, God-given gifts that they've never realized before, because they've been struggling and just fighting to survive. And so, I think of Jose. I love his pottery. They've got a pottery area and a kiln and that kind of thing. And he's selling pieces of pottery for a lot of money, and it's just really interesting to see. They also have a dignified work program, so someone does not necessarily have to have a source of income when they enter the village, and we're copying that as well. So it's rather than expecting a chronically homeless person to work 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, we do work contracts. So it's a 2-hour work contract, and the kinds of things that you would normally farm out to professionals, such as lawn care, janitorial work, things like that, can be done by village residents, and then they're paid a dignified income, currently at $15 an hour. And if they want to take 4 hours to do it, they can do that. If they want to do it in 30 minutes, they can do that. And then they can take on as many contracts as they want. They just know per day, take a week off, whatever. They just know they got to pay rent at the end of the month. We had another question right here.
Yes, sir. How do you help with employment for these individuals? Do you work with companies and so forth, find jobs?
One thing I didn't really talk about, we have a homeless resource center on Euclid that we started in 2021. It's a little bit of an oversight. More than 8,000 people come to us a year. and then we make referrals and help people. That's really where we can spend more time with people and help them get into different programs and make those referrals and stuff. And you, would you please repeat your question?
How do you help them find employment?
Oh, yes, so we have a job assistance program there that we're refining, but we're looking for corporations and people that are interested in employing the formerly homeless. There's certain areas where it's hard to find good work, good help, and these are people that they're not all going to work out, but the ones that do are probably going to be loyal and stay for life. And so that's one of the things we do. Now in the village, a lot of people have a source of income already, such as SSI. And then some people have jobs, some people have cars. 18% of the people will have cars. There's plenty of parking, and then people are able to do the dignified work program. So, yes, sir.
Could you talk a little bit about the range of construction costs? How do you then scale that up? Like, do you need to build 5 at a time? And talk a little bit about other services, bus line, groceries, that kind of thing.
Thank you. Yeah, it was important that this particular village be, or that any location be within a mile of a bus stop and within a mile of a grocery or convenience store. So we're fortunate here to have a bus stop on Maury, about 3 blocks away. And then there is a convenience store roughly a mile away on 14th and Maury. There's another one on 30th Street by the fairgrounds, also roughly a mile. But we will also have a village market in the community center. So there'll be a place for people to come up and buy the basic things they need, to continue to function.
And construction costs?
Yeah, construction costs. So we're continually getting more information. The homes we expect to be around an average of probably around $100,000 each to build a home. Yeah, these are very nice homes designed by BSB architects, and that's the old Bloodgood Sharp firm, for those of you that maybe don't know their name. But yeah, they're likely going to be right around that. We built that home in Cheatham Park right before COVID in 2018 as a prototype. That cost $75,000, and then as soon as COVID started, they told us that'd be $150,000, and then those prices started kind of coming back down. But that 384 is more than 100,000 square feet. Of course, the 170 or the 192 would be less, but on average, we're kind of roughly thinking about 100. That, of course, does not include the infrastructure, the roads, the underground utilities. It's just the pad in the home, or the community center. So, but there is some scale there. We build the community center, and we're good to go with a lot of homes. So there's some upfront costs that will support more homes. Good. Looks like we're good for questions. Okay, I'm going to go back there first. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the county's contributed to your master site plan project for your housing, but in terms of your main operation, you don't have any federal funding. Is that by choice?
It has been by choice in the past. It has been, two things. One is that that's a dwindling amount of resources divided up by a number of nonprofits that are growing and do good work, our partners in town. And so to compete for those dwindling dollars, when we can and have the ability to raise money privately, just didn't sound as appealing. The second thing is that in the past, some of the HUD programs have had certain strings attached, if you will. Some of those are simply reporting and reporting and accountability is never an issue. But some of those strings where you can't have volunteers helping homeless individuals, or you have to take your cross down. We have a cross on our wall in the resource center, and you can't maybe hug someone or tell them you love them. You have to maintain that sort of patient-doctor relationship with a very clear boundary. And so those are some of the reasons. But I'll tell you, some of that's changing now, and it's kind of a good timing for us because the new plan coming out for next year from the current administration is really looking for more innovative solutions and for faith-based organizations to help. So we're looking closely at that, and we may be able to bring in some federal funding to help build this, which we're excited about. That would help us scale faster.
Is there any plans for a storm shelter?
Yes, the storm shelter is in the Neighbor Care Community Center, but in addition to that, in addition to that, each home is anchored into the ground. They're considered, there's should be as tornado proof as your home, even though they're sitting on a slab, they're anchored way down to the ground. But certainly, if there's a major event, then people will go to the storm shelter. Yes, sir.
How did you get the city to going to agree to such small dwellings a number of years back? They said there's not going to be any small houses in Des Moines that doesn't meet any of our zoning ordinances or building codes, on and on.
Yeah, it wasn't easy and it took a lot of time. I'll tell you, they are, that's the homeless problem is continuing to grow. We've got, a lot of great people on our, we've got great council members, we've got great staff, and Scott and the council just kept looking at that, and I think we continue to be persistent. It was really just a matter of finding the right location that everybody could get around, and so that's kind of what happened. One of the things about costs I'm thinking of is, when you go to build, and Melissa, if I put you on the spot, tell me how much it was for each unit in your upstairs?
We're 211 right now, 211,000 but that's a single family home, what we're building.
Yeah, I was thinking also
So,
of like the
the
YMCA,
20
I think those were like at 3.
24.
Yeah, so it's significantly more than 100,000.
Yeah, so ours is around, ours in our building are around 200 square foot. Ours is all concrete and steel, so keep that in mind from a building material perspective. And that was about 150, 200,000 for those units.
Yeah, and that's not an independent structure, which chronically homeless people don't do well when they have shared walls. And they just really do better when they have a little space outside their home. The reason I brought that up though is because it's federal quality standards that actually have kind of created a lot of the problem we have with affordable housing now, because it costs so dang much to make a home that meets those standards. And so because we're not doing the HUD funding, which I guess is another reason, at least for these first phases, we're not obligated to do that. We just have to get the city to agree. I feel like we're running out of time.
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, can you stick around?
A general question.
Sure.
You see all of these people around ish called panhandling intersections. Are these homeless people? First question.
Yes.
Second question, I was at a meeting somewhere and there was some county people there and the question was asked about giving them money. And so what do you think about giving them money? What's that money used for? Is that helping them?
Yeah.
That subject real quick.
Yeah. So just really quickly, when you see someone on the homeless, or on the street corners flying at signs, what that's called, you kind of wonder, are they really homeless? And I've never met anybody in the Des Moines area that wasn't homeless or formerly homeless. We have some people that get into apartments and then they're coming back down on the street, maybe to feed an alcohol, addiction. And so that does happen. What you do, I would just tell everybody, just acknowledge people. The best thing you can do is look someone in the eye and tell them, see them and just say, something positive. We can ask them how their day's going, and they probably don't want to talk to you about, wonder how your day's going either, but just, saying, God bless you, or, I hope you have a good day. Any of those kinds of things is the most important thing you can do. As far as money goes, people look at that different ways. I don't hesitate in some cases. I know there's a pastor in town, his motto is, he gives the largest bill in his wallet every time he sees someone, because he wants them to know the love of God, and he wants them to have another chance to make another choice. So really what we do is between us and God, and what someone does with what we do for them, that's between them and God. So you really don't have to be connected to that, and controlling people with your money is, has limited effect. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for sharing the important work you do at JAPA with us and taking time out of your schedule to do so. We appreciate you and your team's leadership and compassion that makes a real difference in the community. So thank you. Real quick, upcoming speakers before we get out of here. Next couple weeks. Next week, we have our local scholarship program. Great and popular program every year. It highlights our foundation as usual, and we award 6 $8,000 scholarships, one to a graduating senior from each of the Des Moines public high schools. So don't miss that program. April 30th, Joel Veenstra from the president of the Baker Group will be here, and I think he'll be talking about the explosion of the data center industry. And then May 7th, Joseph Junta, the conductor of the Des Moines Symphony, will be here to tell us what's going on with his organization. So reminder, you and any guests need to RSVP to Kitty by 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and look for someone to bring that would make a great addition to our club or want to learn about those topics. A few more upcoming events. The Wheels Fellowship, as Randy mentioned, April 25th at American Dream Machines, 10 a.m. Marty Hockenberg shared last week about our upcoming May 19th new member appreciation event at Jasper Winery. That'll be a really good time. We'll have more information to you in the next week's newsletter about this. But new members and all of you should watch your email for that. And then upcoming morning fuels. Our next morning fuel will be Tuesday, May 5th. We'll feature Rotarian Jackie Norris. Will tell us all about her accomplishments, and we're saving. I think Susan Scharnberg will be our June fuel Rotarian, and I'm setting a date with Susan as soon as I can. We can get schedules aligned. So look for that as well. Thank you all for being here today and being a vital part of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. Thank you to all of our guests that joined us. It was great to have you. You're welcome back anytime. Stay true to the good, and we are adjourned.